Discover the incredible, life-changing love story that transformed 1 million hearts forever. In the small town of Harmony Hills, where secrets ran like the creek through its heart, Emma Johnson carried the weight of the world on her shoulders. At 32, every scrape of her hands and every smile she offered as a waitress at the local diner felt like it was pulling her further away from her dreams. She longed for a better life for her 10-year-old daughter, Lily, whose laughter filled their tiny home with joy. Emma always thought they could rise above that. Hope lived in small moments like Lily's bright eyes or the warmth of morning coffee, but the town was struggling. Businesses were closing, and folks who used to greet each other with smiles now wore frowns, weighed down by despair. Then, like a beacon breaking through the gloom, Jake Thompson returned home. The boy Emma once loved had transformed into a man, but the haunted look in his eyes told stories of a life spent fighting battles far away. Their chemistry reignited like sparks flying from a campfire, but doubt loomed like the clouds threatening rain. "Oh, Emma, it's been too long," Jake said, the warmth of his voice stirring something deep within her. She felt old feelings washing over her, yet the shadows of his past felt heavy. Could her heart be brave enough to love again, especially when her own father blamed such love for the chaos that had touched their lives? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let us continue. One story trailed into another, mingled with laughter until the day the grocery store caught fire. As flames danced through the roof, lilting smoke crawled through the streets, pulling Emma and her father into the chaos of their strained relationship. "Let me help," she cried, knowing every second counted. But in her father's eyes flickered the blame, his misunderstanding of what Jake had fought for and who he had become. "Why are you risking everything for him?" he shouted above the crowd of onlookers. The bitterness stark, rising higher than the smoke above. But before Emma could respond, she saw Jake, running selflessly into the chaos, pulling an elderly neighbor from the flames. The townspeople whispered his name, awe and respect replacing fear. In that moment, Emma's heart swelled as the people of Harmony Hills came together. Would they finally cast aside their prejudices about veterans? Would Jake's bravery change their minds and hearts, or would her father's stubbornness create an even greater divide? As evening turned to night, Emma stood at the crossroads. Love and family weighed heavy upon her heart, with Lily's sweet smile glowing like a lantern amid the uncertainty. Could this newfound hope shine through the clouds of doubt? Emma's world turned in a whirlwind of confusion. What lay ahead was impossible to predict, but the embers of possibility flickered in the air like the dying light of day. Would love indeed conquer all? The air was thick with smoke and silent disbelief as the fire raged on, the hiss of steam mixing with the distant cries of sirens. Emma stood frozen, her heart pounding against her chest. The flickering flames cast a haunting glow on the streets of Harmony Hills, illuminating the faces of neighbors she knew by name but had only exchanged polite nods with for years. Would they see Jake for who he truly was now? Lily tugged at her arm, her innocent eyes wide with fear. "Mom, is Jake going to be okay?" She could hear the tremor in her daughter's voice, the gravity of the moment settling in. Emma knelt down, cupping Lily's face in her hands. "He's brave, sweetheart. He's doing everything he can to help." The sounds of the town at that moment felt surreal, like a muffled soundtrack to the chaos unfolding. The fire trucks pulled up, and familiar faces from the diner joined the crowd, their expressions shifted from judgment to admiration. Jake emerged from the smoke, an elderly lady clasped in his arms. The townsfolk did not hold back their applause, it echoed through the streets, reverberating off the crumbling walls of the once bustling grocery store. But then, Emma noticed something else. Her father, standing on the periphery, grimacing at the cheers, his arms crossed defiantly. Would he ever understand? "Dad," she called out, rushing toward him, "this isn't just about Jake. It's about hope." But he turned his back to her, his stubbornness thick as the smoke hanging in the air. Emma felt torn. Here was her father, full of life lessons learned from years of struggle, and yet he seemed unwilling to reconcile with the present. And there was Jake, risking everything to save others, but could she allow herself to want him back? As the fire subsided, Jake knelt beside a flower bed that hadn't been touched by the flames, letting the petals brush against his fingers. Emma's heart fluttered as he searched for her gaze. He smiled through the soot and sweat, and she felt every bit of resolve she held fleeting away like embers in the wind. "Are you all right?" he asked, breathless from exertion, warmth shining through the darkness. "I am now," she admitted quietly, but the tension hung between them, thick and unyielding. "Thank you for believing in me," he whispered, placing his hand on hers, a gesture that sent electric sparks rushing through her. But then, the ringing of her phone cut through their moment. An unknown number, the kind that could bring news too hard to bear. She hesitated, glancing at Jake, before answering. "Hello." The voice on the other end was low and serious. "Emma Johnson. We need to talk about Lily." Panic flooded her. What could possibly be happening now? As she tried to make sense of the unfolding chaos, Emma saw Jake's expression shift to one of concern. He stepped closer, eyes searching hers for answers. "What's wrong?" Her heart raced, caught between the warmth of rekindled love and the panic of impending crisis. "Lily." The words lingered like smoke in the air. Emma felt the weight of the moment, a possible storm brewing over the horizon. What if this call changed everything, just when she thought things were beginning to come together? Jake's hand gripped her tighter, ready to face whatever came next. But what lay beyond the horizon was a question that pressed heavily on her chest. Would she be able to hold on to both the love she wanted and the daughter she needed to protect? As the fire's embers cooled into the night, a different kind of fire ignited within her. Emma stood at the precipice of her dreams and fears, wondering if she could be brave enough to face both. Emma's breath caught in her throat as she focused on the voice on the other end of the line. The words blurred together, drowning in the rush of emotions crashing over her. "What about Lily?" she stammered, her voice quaking. "There's been an incident at school," the voice continued, clipped and grave. "You need to come down here right away." An incident? It felt like the ground beneath her shifted. All she wanted was to bask in this moment with Jake, to let their hearts get lost in one another. But this was different. This felt like a punch to the gut. She quickly ended the call and gave Jake a look that said everything without uttering a single word. "Emma," he started, but she shook her head. "Lily needs me," she said, urgency propelling her forward. She started walking away, her legs feeling heavy as if the weight of the world had fallen on her shoulders. The fire was fading, but now her heart ignited with worry. Jake fell in step beside her. "I'm coming with you." His presence felt like an anchor, steadying her in a storm of uncertainty. Yet, doubt flickered in her mind. Was it fair to drag him into this? Would he understand the depths of the fear swirling within her? "I don't know if it's a good idea," she whispered, pulling back slightly. "It doesn't matter," Jake replied, his voice firm. "I'm here for you. For both of you." The crowd behind them thinned out as the fire trucks wrapped up their work, but her own fire was just getting hotter. They reached the pathway that led to the school. As they walked, the familiar sights of Harmony Hills faded into the background, leaving her heart confused. Her mind raced with possibilities. Was Lily hurt? Was she scared? Every dark thought threatened to consume her. Reassuring Jake felt impossibly distant when her daughter's safety hung in the balance. "Just breathe," he said softly, bringing her back to the present. "Let us focus on finding out what happened." The school loomed ahead, its brick walls a fortress of anxiety. Emma couldn't help but glance at his hand, still holding hers, grounding her. In that moment, it felt like their connection had shifted again, swirling around her fears, igniting something both comforting and terrifying. The thought of them two together, stepping into the unknown, pulled at her heartstrings. When they entered the school, the air felt heavy, charged with tension. They were met by a teacher who led them to the principal's office. Emma's heart pounded as they stepped inside, and she noticed the worried faces of the staff and parents gathered. "Thank you for coming," the principal said, matter-of-fact yet gentle. "There's been a situation with Lily." The words hung in the air around them like the smoke from the fire, dark and oppressive. Emma's world narrowed to the sound of her racing heartbeat. Each beat seemed to echo her growing trepidation. "Where is she?" Emma managed to ask, her voice a trembling whisper, now filled with resolve. The principal exchanged glances with another teacher, and for a moment, the world stood still. "She's safe," the principal said finally, his eyes softening. "But we need to discuss what happened." In that instant, a wave of relief washed over Emma, followed quickly by a tsunami of fear. Safe. But what did that mean? Her mind spun with questions. What kind of incident? Jake's steady voice broke through her thoughts, grounding her again. The principal took a deep breath, and Emma held on to Jake's hand tighter, the warmth reassuring yet fraught with the unknown. As the details began to unfold, Emma realized that the fire had sparked more than just physical flames in their lives. It had ignited questions far deeper than she ever imagined. But as they listened, one unmistakable thought clawed at her heart: would the truth about Lily change everything? The principal's voice wavered slightly as he explained, "Lily was involved in an incident during the fire drill today. There was a misunderstanding involving a student's behavior." Emma's heart sank deeper with each word. Misunderstanding? It sounded so benign, yet the sharp edges of anxiety cut into her thoughts. She glanced at Jake, his brow knitted in concern. "What do you mean a misunderstanding?" Emma's voice rose, urgency bubbling over. "Is she hurt? Scared? Where is she?" "Lily is in the nurse's office. She's shaken, but physically, she's unharmed," he replied, holding up a hand in a calming gesture. "We wanted to make sure she's alright before contacting you." The relief that washed over her now felt mixed with dread. Having Jake beside her didn't ease the need to protect her daughter. His grip tightened around her hand, and she looked deeply into his eyes, trying to read his thoughts. What was the misunderstanding exactly? Jake interjected, his calm demeanor a foil to Emma's worry. The principal shifted, his gaze flickering to the floor. Another student was found with an object that looked alarming, and in the chaos, Lily was caught in the midst of it. She was scared, and understandably it was a frightening situation. Emma felt her breath leave her body. A moment of terror gripped her, imagining her sweet girl amidst a sea of confusion and fear. "Can we see her?" Emma asked urgently. "Yes, of course," the principal responded, nodding toward the door. "Follow me." As they walked through the hallway, Emma's mind raced with where this could lead. Why had this happened? Was it just kids being kids or something deeper? The questions flooded into her head like a tidal wave. She could almost hear Lily's laughter, her infectious joy a stark contrast to what they were facing. When they reached the nurse's office, Emma paused at the door, her heart pounding. She pushed the door open slowly, revealing Lily sitting on the examination bed, legs swinging back and forth. Her hair fell in messy waves around her face, and the moment she spotted Emma, her eyes widened. "Mom!" Lily jumped to her feet, rushing into Emma's arms. Relief surged within Emma, mingling with the fear that still hung in the air like an echo. "I'm here, honey. I'm here," Emma whispered, holding her tightly, trying to shield her from the world outside. Lily was safe, her heartbeat steady against Emma's, but a worried frown creased the little girl's forehead. "I was so scared, Mom." Someone let off the fire alarm and her voice quivered, and Emma pulled back to look into her daughter's worried eyes. Emma knelt down, brushing a tear from Lily's cheek. "I know, sweetie. Just tell me what happened." As Lily began to explain, Emma glanced at Jake, who observed quietly, giving them the space they needed. His comforting presence still wrapped around Emma, providing her with strength even in this moment of chaos. "Can we go home?" Lily asked softly after finishing her story, small and fragile. "Yes, absolutely," Emma said, her voice firm. "We can leave right now." Jake stepped forward, his warmth blending with their embrace. "We're going to take care of you, Lily. You're safe." His words flowed over them, a soothing balm against fear, making Emma feel just a little stronger. But as they stepped back into the hallway, Emma couldn't shake the feeling of dread that lingered. Was this truly over? Or had today opened a door to something much more sinister lurking beneath the surface of their lives? Emma glanced at Jake as he walked beside them, the silence stretching between them heavy with unspoken concerns. Would their lives ever be carefree again, or were they only beginning to see the cracks in their peaceful existence? She could feel the invisible weight of uncertainty pressing on her chest. As they exited the school, a troubling thought crept in. What if this incident was just the beginning? As they stepped into the late afternoon sun, a swarm of emotions clashed within Emma. She could see the playground bustling with children, their laughter cutting through the air like a clear bell. It seemed so normal, too normal. But for her, something had shifted. The sense of dread nipped at her heels. Lily held Emma's hand tightly, her small fingers intertwining with her mother's, as if clinging to a lifeline. Jake walked beside them, his expression serious as he absorbed the atmosphere around them. Emma could almost hear his mind ticking with questions as they made their way to the car. "Mom, can we get ice cream?" Lily asked, her voice brightening momentarily, trying to pull them back from the edge of fear. "Sure, sweetie. You deserve a treat," Emma replied, forcing a smile. But even as she said it, a knot twisted in her stomach. Where had that danger come from? Was it truly an isolated incident, or was someone out there threatening the safety of her little girl? Jake opened the car door, leaning in to buckle Lily into her seat. He turned to Emma, concern etched across his face. "Are you okay?" "Just thinking," Emma admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "Well, I'm here." "You know that," he said, running his thumb across her hand reassuringly. It should have felt comforting, but all it did was highlight the anxiety that bubbled just below the surface. As they pulled away from the school, the familiar route felt foreign. The trees lining the road blurred past, their vibrant greens juxtaposed against the gray clouds building above them. Emma's thoughts raced, returning to the moment Lily had described: the chaos, the ringing alarms, the frantic faces of other students, and the utter pandemonium. "Mom." Lily's quiet voice sliced through her reverie. "Yes, honey. Is it safe at school now?" she asked, her innocent eyes searching Emma's for reassurance. It broke her heart to see that flicker of fear. "Of course it is, sweetheart. It was just an accident, a mistake," Emma said, forcing conviction into her tone. But deep down, doubt gnawed at her. It was all well and good to plan and prepare for safety, but was there real security in how they navigated each day? As they slowed to a stop at a traffic light, Emma glanced in the rearview mirror. She caught a glimpse of a dark figure standing near the school gate, partially obscured by the shadows of the trees. A chill ran down her spine. "Mom." Lily's voice pulled Emma from her thoughts. "Yeah." Emma responded, turning her focus back to her daughter. "Can Jake stay for dinner tonight?" Lily asked, her hopeful smile making Emma's heart swell. "Of course he can." Emma replied, trying to keep her voice light, but her mind was still weighing heavily on the unease lurking beneath the surface. Jake spoke up, "I'd love to. I'll bring dessert." Their conversation unfolded like a balm against her troubled thoughts. As they drove home, Emma leaned against the window, watching the colors of sunset blend into a fiery array of reds and oranges. For a moment, she allowed herself to dream of normalcy, the laughter, the sweet moments, untainted, but as they turned the corner into their neighborhood, the dark figure flashed again in her mind. She squeezed her eyes shut, willing the image to fade. As they parked the car, a noise startled her, a distant echo of sirens somewhere in the distance. Her heart raced again, a dull thud resonating in her ears. "Mom." Lily's voice cut through her fog. "We're okay, darling," Emma replied, though the uncertainty loomed like a storm. Getting out of their vehicle felt monumental, as if crossing an invisible threshold. Each step toward their door felt heavy, like the weight of dread that clung to her chest. Would they be able to reclaim the safety they had lost so quickly? As Emma unlocked the front door, the shadows lengthened behind them, both familiar and suspicious. A fragment of fear budded in the back of her mind. "Mom." Lily's voice quivered. Emma turned to find her daughter staring past her, wide-eyed. "What is it?" Emma's heart raced anew. The door swung open with a creak, revealing an unexpected sight: a letter on the welcome mat, its envelope bearing an ominous seal. Emma's breath hitched. "What now?" "Just stay close, Lily," Emma whispered, her heart pounding. What message lay hidden in that letter? And what would it mean for them? Emma's heart raced as she bent down to pick up the envelope, her fingers trembling slightly. The seal was dark, almost ominous. She flipped it over, her breath hitching in her throat. "Mom. What is that?" Lily's small voice was filled with curiosity and concern. "It's just a letter, sweetie," Emma replied, forcing calm into her voice. But inside, her mind spiraled. A letter? Who would send them something like this, especially now? "I think we should open it together," Jake suggested, his brows furrowed. He was trying to gauge how Emma felt, the worry etched across his features. Emma nodded, trying to mask her unease. She pulled the flap open and carefully withdrew the letter. The letterhead bore no name, just the same dark seal imprinted at the top. Her heart thumped in rhythm with the thuds of her thoughts, 1,000 what-ifs racing in her mind. "Read it, Mom," Lily encouraged, standing close, her small hand resting against Emma's arm. With a deep breath, Emma unfolded the paper. The words scrawled across it were sharp and clear, but the message twisted in her gut. A warning. A threat? "Emma," Jake murmured, leaning in closer. "What does it say?" "You cannot protect her. Just when you think she is safe." Emma read aloud, her voice trembling with every word. Lily shifted beside her, eyes wide. "What does that mean?" "Mom, is someone after me?" "No, no," Emma hurried to say, wrapping her arms around Lily. "This is just a cruel joke." But deep down, she felt the gnawing dread intensify, pooling in her stomach like cold lead. Jake's eyes narrowed as he took in the letter. "We need to call the police. This isn't right." The urgency in his tone felt like a bucket of cold water, snapping Emma back to reality. "Wait," Emma interrupted, her heart racing. "Shouldn't we think this through? What if it's nothing?" "It's something, Emma." Jake insisted, firm. "It's a threat." He pulled out his phone, and Emma felt the world shift under her feet. The safety of their home, the very essence of comfort, now felt fragile, like glass teetering on the edge of a table. Lily's small body pressed against her side, warmth mixing with the chill of fear. "I don't want anything bad to happen to you or me, Mom." Emma squeezed her daughter tighter, searching for words that would shield her from the uncertainty creeping closer. "Nothing will happen. I promise." As the sirens in the distance grew louder, laced with the air of urgency, Emma caught movement in the window. She turned slowly. A shadow crossed their yard, momentarily hidden by the trees. "Why don't you go get your coloring books, Lily?" Emma suggested, her voice trying to maintain a semblance of normalcy. "You can color while I talk to Jake." Lily hesitated, glancing between her mother and Jake, and then darted toward the living room. Emma watched her go, the worry for her child coiling tighter around her heart. "Are you sure we don't need to tell her?" Jake asked, his voice low. Emma shook her head. "Not yet. Let us see what we can figure out first." Their eyes met, a silent understanding passing between them. They were in this together. But the question lingered like mist in the early morning, the figure in the shadows, the message in the letter. Are we really safe here? Emma whispered, her voice barely escaping her lips. Jake took her hands in his, grounding her. We will be. I promise we'll figure it out. But as she embraced him, Emma couldn't shake the cold prickling sensation crawling down her spine. What if the message was all too true? What if they were being watched? The thought hung in the air, heavy and menacing. Just then, another sound erupted outside, footsteps crunching on gravel. Emma's heart pounded in her chest. Who was there? Jake. She whispered, dread flooding her. He turned toward the window, eyes wide. As they both moved closer to see, the door knocked softly, yet ominously. Who was standing at the door, and what awaited them on the other side? Emma's breath caught in her throat as the soft knock echoed through the house. The sound seemed to amplify everything: the pounding of her heart, the rustling of the wind outside, the soft whispers of apprehension in her mind. Stay here, Jake whispered, his voice low and steady. He moved towards the door with a protective stance, his frame rigid. Emma hesitated, her instincts screaming that she should remain close to him, but she knew that if there was trouble, he would shield her and Lily. As Jake reached for the doorknob, Emma clutched the letter in her hand, a stubborn reminder of the fear that hovered over them like a storm cloud. Who is it? Jake asked, his voice sharp. Silence met his question, thick and suffocating, and Emma could see the tension in his shoulders. He glanced back at her, his eyes dark with worry. Open it, she urged, desperation slipping into her tone. He nodded slowly and opened the door a crack. The sight before him made Emma's stomach drop. A shadowy figure stood on the other side, obscured by the dim porch light. The barely visible face was drawn tight with uncertainty, eyes darting nervously. I'm looking for Emma, the figure said, voice shaky but unmistakable. Do I know you? Jake replied, concern twisting in his expression. The figure shifted uneasily, hands clenching and unclenching at their sides. I have something to tell her. It's important. Before the figure could finish, the door swung fully open, and Emma stepped forward, her heart racing. Do I know you? She asked, her voice steadier than she felt. Not really, the figure replied, taking a step closer, the light revealing a young woman, no older than 20. Her hair was tangled, her face pale but determined. I'm sorry to come here like this. But you need to know, she stuttered, finally meeting Emma's gaze. There is something you need to understand about the letter. Emma's breath hitched again, a rush of panic mixed with curiosity. What do you know? Lily peeked from behind Emma's legs, her small body trembling slightly. Mom, who is she? She whispered, tightening her grip on Emma's shirt. This is important for you to hear, Emma, the girl insisted, her eyes darting toward Lily, then back to Emma. Please. Just let me explain. Jake moved protectively in front of Emma, protecting his family from this frail stranger. You need to start talking. Now. The girl swallowed hard, nodding. They know about your daughter. They've been watching you. The weight of her words hit Emma like a punch in the gut. Reality twisted around her, the mocking threat in the letter clicking into place with terrifying clarity. Emma felt the air go heavy as dread began to pull at the edges of her consciousness. Jake stepped forward fiercely, his eyes never leaving the girl. Who is they? People who know things, secrets from the past, she whispered, desperation creeping into her voice. You need to take this seriously. It's about Lily's safety. Emma's heart raced, fear intertwining with a sense of urgency. What do you know about us? About my daughter? I can't say everything here, the girl hurriedly added, glancing over her shoulder as if expecting someone to emerge from the shadows at any moment. But you need to come with me. Now. Are you out of your mind? Jake shouted, alarm spilling over. You want us to just trust you? She stayed quiet, her eyes pleading. I'm trying to help. You can't wait. I promise. Please. Emma glanced at Jake, his expression torn with indecision. The letter loomed, dark and threatening, the danger pressing in from all sides. In this moment, she felt the weight of every decision, and with it, the realization that their lives were on a precipice. Okay, Emma finally said, hearing the tremor in her own voice. But if this is a trap? It's not, the girl insisted, desperation tightening her features. You'll see. You really need to trust me. As Emma took a hesitant step forward, the shadows outside seemed to deepen, gathering around them. She could only hope they were making the right choice. What awaited them in the murky unknown? Emma's heart raced as they prepared to step into that uncertain darkness. The street felt endless as they moved, swallowed by the night's darkness. Emma clutched Lily's hand tightly, determined to shield her from whatever awaited them. Her pulse raced, each step echoing her growing anxiety. Jake walked closely behind, his protective presence giving her some semblance of comfort. Where are we going? Emma asked, trying to keep her voice steady. The girl turned, darting her eyes back to their house, concern etched on her face. There's a safe place nearby. You'll understand once we get there. Jake's brow furrowed deeper. What's your name? Sarah, she answered, glancing back at Emma. I know it's hard to trust. Hard? It's impossible, Jake shot back, his glare softened only by the worry he felt for Emma and Lily. Emma silenced Jake with a touch on his arm. We'll listen, she said to Sarah, then added quietly, just keep us safe. They moved through the shadowed streets, occasional bursts of wind carrying the scent of rain. Sarah stopped suddenly, rounding on them. There are people who want to hurt you. Your daughter. You can't let them find you. Emma felt her breath hitch again. Why? What do they want? I can't say everything, but it's connected to that letter. Fear mingled with determination pushing Emma forward. Then tell me what you can. How do you know? What do you know? Lily, Sarah said, her voice trembling as she focused on the little girl, she's more important than you realize. There are things about her past, things you don't know. Emma's heart sank. Each word hung in the cold night air, a chilling echo of secrets buried deep. What do you mean? What about her past? It's complicated. But you have to trust me. I promise. I'm not your enemy. Jake stepped forward, still wary. If you're trying to protect her, then explain. We deserve to know. Tension hung in the air, an electric charge of anxiety and desperation. Emma felt the weight of two lives resting on her shoulders, her own and Lily's. She had lived every day for her daughter, fought every battle as a single mother. The fear of losing that was now overwhelming. Just a little farther, Sarah urged, eyes scanning the area. I promise you'll be safe there. They finally arrived at an old, nondescript building. It looked abandoned, but Sarah pulled them inside, ushering Emma and Lily quickly through a door marked only by fading numbers. Inside, it felt different, protected. The dim lighting revealed walls plastered with faded photographs and newspaper clippings. Emma blinked at the images, an unsettling realization creeping in. Is this? Emma started, trailing off as her eyes landed on a photo of a child who looked eerily like Lily. Yes, Sarah breathed, stepping forward. That's why you're in danger. It connects to your family history, and to the people who've been watching you. Tell me everything. Now, Jake demanded, his voice low and filled with barely contained rage. As their world bent around a fragile balance of trust, Emma felt the shadows growing thicker. She knew they were walking into a storm, and not just the one brewing outside. What had they stumbled into? With dread pooling in her stomach, she faced Sarah, ready to uncover the truth, unaware of the impending storm that would change everything for them all. Emma stepped closer to the photographs, her heart racing. Each face she recognized stirred memories she had long buried, laughter, birthdays, moments of joy intertwined with shadows of grief and confusion. The child staring back at her from the picture wasn't just eerily similar to Lily, it was as if they were looking at a ghost. Who was this girl? Why was she connected to Lily's past? Sarah, Emma's voice trembled, who is she? Before Sarah could answer, a crash echoed from outside. The three of them jerked towards the door, fear flooding Emma's veins. They're coming, Sarah whispered, her eyes wide with terror. Who? Jake growled, fingering the edge of a nearby table as he positioned himself protectively in front of Emma and Lily. The air thickened with tension, desperation weaving its way through their group. People who will stop at nothing to find you, Sarah urged, her voice urgent. We have to move now. What about the answers? Emma demanded, panic rising in her throat. I need to understand. Understanding can wait. Your safety is the priority. Sarah's voice was stern but soft at the edges. Trust me. We don't have time. Emma glanced down at Lily, whose small hand trembled in hers. The innocent trust in her daughter's eyes pierced through Emma's fear. Whatever was happening, she needed to protect that light. Okay, Emma relented, her motherly instinct kicking in again. Show us where to go. With that, Sarah led them down a narrow, dimly lit corridor adorned with more photographs, each one seemingly more haunting than the last. Emma's heart sank as she passed pictures of children at different stages of life, some smiling, others with anxious, pleading faces. Why are there so many? She asked, barely able to keep the tremor from her voice. They're all connected, Sarah answered, urgency pushing her forward. Some have been taken. Others are just, gone. Lily clung tighter to Emma's hand, sensing the heaviness that enveloped them. Emma's heart ached at the thought of leaving the vibrant life she had built with her daughter behind. At the end of the corridor, Sarah stopped in front of a heavy metal door. In here. It's a safe room. We can regroup, plan our next move. With a deep breath, Sarah pushed open the door, and they stepped inside. Emma felt the room close around them, its cool air brushing against her skin. The walls held records, documents, and more photographs plastered everywhere. A sense of urgency hung in the air, thick and tangible. Are we safe now? Lily asked, her sweet voice breaking the heavy silence, making Emma's heart ache. For now, Sarah said, but her eyes flicked nervously to the door. Emma saw the uncertainty flash through her expression, a hint that even here, doubt lingered. I need answers, Jake stated firmly, breaking through the thick nerves that filled the room. You can't just drag us into this without telling us everything. Sarah opened her mouth but hesitated, glancing at Lily. It's not just about you. It's about her, too, she said, her gaze softening. Lily is special. She's got abilities that others want to control. Control. Emma's voice cracked, fear blooming as realization sank in. What do you mean? Before Sarah could answer, a distant sound echoed through the door, drowning out their conversation. It was heavy footsteps, loud and pounding, growing nearer. Emma's pulse raced. Whatever was happening outside was closing in fast. Get ready, Sarah instructed, eyes flashing with alarm. Stay close. As Emma scanned the room, the weight of her reality crashed down around her. They were deeper in this than she ever imagined, and the stakes had become painfully clear. There was no turning back now. In that harrowing moment, she recognized that everything she had built, a sense of safety, a normal life, was about to change forever. What could Lily really do, and what consequences lay ahead? Emma gripped her daughter's hand tighter, determined to face whatever was coming together. But as the pounding grew louder, a thought gnawed at Emma: would it be enough to keep them safe? The door trembled under the weight of someone outside. Emma's heart raced as she pressed Lily closer to her side. They stood in the dim light of the safe room, the shadows thick and menacing. The heavy footsteps grew louder, drowning out her chaotic thoughts. Jake's body tensed beside her, ready to act. The air felt electric, charged with anxiety and fear. "Whoever it is, we need to be ready," Jake declared, positioning himself in front of Emma and Lily. Emma nodded, her mind clouded with desperation. "Sarah, please, tell me what is going on. It's time." Sarah's expression was grave. "You need to understand the truth about Lily. Now." Emma whispered urgently, but another loud crash jolted them all. The door rattled as if something or someone was trying to break through. "Listen." Sarah called out, her voice cutting through the rising fear. "Lily has a connection to something powerful. Something that these people want for themselves. It's not just a threat, it's a promise of danger." Emma felt a shiver run down her spine. "What danger?" Sarah met her gaze with intensity. "Lily is special. She can tap into abilities that others can't. They want to control that power." Emma squashed the panic rising within her. "What power?" "She's just my little girl." A silence fell, heavy with unease. Lily's small hand trembled in Emma's grip. But she held on fiercely. "Think of the photo you saw," Sarah urged. "That child was taken for what she could do. And the same might happen to Lily." The realization hit Emma like a wave. The warmth and safety she fought for seemed to slip through her fingers as shadows closed in around them. An ominous thud echoed against the door, followed by a low voice. "We know you're in there, Emma." Fear twisted through Emma's heart. "Who are you?" she cried, her voice trembling. "Your past isn't as buried as you think. We simply want what was promised." The voice sounded almost familiar, mocking, like it had wrapped itself in old ties. "Run," Sarah whispered fiercely, gripping a nearby object that looked like a heavy wrench, ready to defend. "They don't care what happens to you. They just want Lily. Take her and go." As the door buckled again, Emma could see the determination on Jake's face, the fierce love that burned in his eyes. "We need to protect her," he said, drawing himself up alongside Emma. "Whatever it takes." Just then, the door creaked, a sliver of light breaking through as it shifted on its hinges. "This is it." Emma held her breath, steeling herself. "Lily, stay close," she urged, pulling her daughter behind her as they faced impending danger together. With a sudden push, the door burst open, revealing a figure cloaked in darkness. The outline swung into the room, a shadow among shadows. "You cannot hide from us anymore," the figure said, an unsettling calm in their voice, but Emma, rooted in fierce resolve, stepped forward, Jake by her side. "You want her? Then you'll face us first." "Fine," the figure laughed softly, eyes narrowing. "Just know the truth, it's already too late." As the words echoed, Emma felt the weight of their situation intensify and instinctively placed herself in front of Lily. "No, it's not. We're stronger together." Jake nodded vehemently, never breaking eye contact with the shadows cloaked in promises and threats. Sharing a glance, both Emma and Jake knew they would fight for this spark of family no matter the cost. In that volatile moment, a bright flash emitted from Lily. The light burst forth, illuminating everything around them in a brilliant glow, chasing the shadows back. "Stay away from my mom!" Lily cried, her innocent but powerful voice cutting through the fear like a knife. Emma's heart swelled even as she felt the rush of energy course through the room. It was as if the very essence of their love formed a protective shield around them. The figure reeled back, shock written across their face as the light intensified. "Run!" Sarah yelled. And they did, darting past the figure into the hallway. The weight of their fear transformed into the adrenaline of freedom as they raced deeper into the building, leaving behind the broken fragments of their old lives, rushing into the open air. Emma turned to Jake and Lily. "We need to find a way out of this." They won't stop. But suddenly, the ground quaked, and Emma faltered as the shadows of their past loomed again. The reality of their situation had changed forever. The danger was real, but so was the promise of love, a stronger tie than blood or fear. Together. Jake shouted, grasping Emma's hand as they ran. Always. In that very moment, Emma realized that fighting for Lily meant fighting for each other, united in unwavering hope. As they pressed onward, fierce determination ignited within them like the dawn after a long night. No matter what lay ahead, they would face it as a family. Don't let fate unfold alone. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about this ending. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share.